It's that time for another episode of the Peak Signing Agents podcast, where me, your host, DVO, Derek Van Otten, is helping you become the best notary and signing agent you could possibly be. And I'm coming at you with a new episode. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate every time we have somebody coming in, watching and listening to the podcast, and just trying to be the best that they can be and provide the great amount of service they can. Thank you, and I hope you're having a fantastic day or a fantastic evening whenever you are listening or watching this podcast. Hope it's going really, really, really great for you. On this episode, I'm talking more towards my signing service owners, future signing service owners, and also just the notaries that want to just know behind the scenes of what we go through as signing services. And I'm talking about a friend of mine who reached out to me, Tiffany Schaefer, out in Colorado, and she just had her birthday. Happy birthday, Tiffany. She had a question that she brought up to me a couple weeks ago, actually, and I thought this would actually be a good topic to talk about. Her struggle as a signing service, I'm not saying this is her only struggle, just a struggle she's currently having, is that she's working with her clients, and she feels like sometimes they're only going to her for rural areas and not for everything. Maybe they're using another signing service for everything else, but when it gets to somewhere a little rural and that signing service is having trouble, they go to her. And she would tell me that she kind of struggles and she feels frustrated because it's not cool, right? And I mentioned my friend Calvin, who runs a signing service, had the same issue where he put on social media like, hey, I'll help you find notaries in rural areas, but don't only come to me for the rural areas. Like, let me handle all your notary service, not just the difficult ones. And we'll be happy to take care of that for you. And I totally agree with both of what they're saying. It gets frustrating if you feel like they're only coming to you for the rural stuff, because it's hard to find notaries. I currently live in Utah. And in central and southern Utah, there are a lot of rural areas. And we live in a place where the surrounding states like Idaho and Wyoming and Montana that surround us also have a lot of rural areas. And it gets really tricky sometimes to find notaries. Not only is it tricky to find notaries, but it's also tricky negotiating with them. So I want to talk to you and give you the tips that I gave Tiffany when she called me about how I handle rural areas, because we get a lot of rural orders and it gets difficult at times. So whenever I get a request from one of my clients, when they say, hey, Peak Signing Team, we need to find a notary in this area. If it's an area I have never heard of before, because it happens, I'm not a geography major. I don't know the whole country. And so when I hear of an area that I'm not very familiar with, before I even respond, this is what I was telling Tiffany, before I even respond, like, okay, I'll start working on this for you. Before I even respond to that, I actually pull up my platform, my notary platform, whether it's Notary Dash, Signing Order, SnapDocs, whatever it is, and I put in the zip code. If I don't have the zip code, I ask for the city, and I'll just find a random place in the city and find a zip code. And I put in the zip code and I search a 20, 25 mile radius. And that will give me an idea of how many notaries are in the area. And sometimes I have to expand that to maybe even a 50 mile radius because it's so rural. And I have to expand it to maybe a 50 mile radius, just kind of get an idea of where the notaries are and how many notaries are in the area. And if it's slim pickings, I'm letting title know that before I even say, okay, we'll start working on this for you. Before I even do that, I'm looking up in the area. And I'm going to tell them straight up. I'm going to say, hey, in this area, there are not many notaries. We'll start working on it for you, but just to give you a heads up, they might charge a little extra because it will be some traveling involved. There might be some extra traveling. So what I'm doing is I'm letting my title company know, hey, I'll look for this for you, but just as a heads up, it might cost you more. Because the notary is going to charge more. I'm going to keep my normal signing service fee, but I need to make sure I pay the notary. And sometimes they're driving an hour and a half to get out there. And I'm letting them know. I'm letting my client know, because if they're going to put it on the settlement statement or closing disclosure, the fee, I want them to know ahead of time, hey, don't put the fee amount yet, because it might be higher than you're used to. And that's just how it's going to be. Now, I will confess, sometimes I eat some of that fee. I'm not taking my normal signing service fee because I don't want to keep charging too much to my client. So I might lower my signing service fee just to help accommodate it, make it a little bit more reasonable. That does happen. So just know, you notaries and signing agents out there, sometimes we're taking a little bit of a cut in these rural areas because some of these notaries charge higher fees, and I get it. I'm not hating on them for it, except when they're asking for something ridiculous, like I want $300 to travel 1 hour. Like, I travel an hour all the time to get to where my clients need me. I travel an hour all the time each way. And I'm still I don't even charge more for that. And I'm very profitable. It's a very profitable business, you guys, being a mobile notary. So you don't need to ask for $300. That's just ridiculous. You're not going to get the job. You don't get many jobs anyway, unless they're desperate. So that's what I do as a signing service. I put in the zip code first to get a feel of the area and let them know, hey, there's only a couple of notaries in this area. I'll see how much their fee is, and I'll let you know. So I'm letting them know it's probably not going to be our normal fee. It might, though. It might, because there are reasonable notaries in rural areas, but there's a lot of unreasonable notaries. And here's the issues that I have in rural areas that I come across as a signing service owner. And so if you are a notary or signing agent that is in a rural area and you are not like this, please reach out to me, because I want to work with you then. And you can find me on social media at Peak Signing. That's where you can find me and reach out to me in my website, peaksigning.com. It's in the show notes. Anyway, what I'm looking for is a notary that will be willing to do it for a reasonable price, to go out and do the signing. And most notaries in rural areas, they're not responsive on their phones. Their communication skills usually, I'm not saying all the time, I'm just saying usually the communication skills with rural notaries is not the best. They're terrible at letting you know that they confirmed the appointment. They're terrible at letting you know when they finished the appointment. They're terrible at good timing with scan backs. So this is an issue that I have a lot with rural notaries. And so if you are a notary that does great communication and updates everybody, I want to work with you. Also, a lot of times they don't take accountability for their mistakes. They don't do training courses. They just are like, I'm a notary. It's more of a point and sign type of situation. And they miss a lot of documents that are usually missed because maybe they don't get a lot of experience in a rural area. I'm guessing. Again, this is not all the time. I'm just talking in majority speech, okay? I'm talking in majority, not every time. So, again, remember, in these rural areas, if they make a mistake, they have to go back out and fix it, right? And again, it's another hour and a half drive each way to fix their mistake. And it's just, you just get in battles. I don't think our clients, our title companies and mortgage companies realize what a pain in the butt it can be to find a rural area notary and that will do a good job. Another thing we have to keep in mind is pickup times. Usually in rural areas, the pickup times are once a day earlier in the day. In the suburbs, FedEx and UPS have multiple pickups throughout the day. And there's always the last pickup that we want to try to make it on time for. But they usually have one or two other pickups throughout the day. In a rural area, it's usually one pickup, one time in the day. And it's usually earlier in the day. And it's going to be at a drop box or at a third-party location, not an actual UPS store or FedEx office store. It's usually going to be, a Dollar General store, Family Dollar, or again, like I said, a drop box. And that's the only pickup time. So one thing I do too is when I'm reaching out to the notaries in a rural area, I will ask them, by the way, what time is last pickup for you at a UPS or FedEx? What's the last pickup time? Because I want to pass that message on. Like, okay, I'm going to look for a notary for you. I'll let you know if they have a higher fee because they're going to be traveling a further distance in this area. And then, okay, I got a notary for you, client. by the way, last pickup time is this time. So if you need it back the next day, that means we have to schedule early, and that means we need documents the day before. So if you want this signed tomorrow, and it's a rural area and the pickup is 11 a.m., I need documents today or else it's not going to make it out in time. So what I'm doing is I'm letting my clients know up front. I'm communicating with my clients, my title and mortgage companies. Hey, we'll work on this. It's a rural area. The notaries are going to be driving an hour to an hour and a half each way. So they might charge higher fees. I'll let you know when I get a notary lined up. I'll let you know what their fee is. And then, hey, I got a notary for you. This is the fee. And then I tack on my fee. So I'm like, I take incorporation. This is the notary's fee. This is my signing service fee. So here's the fee for this area. And by the way, because it's rural, they have one pickup and this is the time. So I'm communicating that with my clients. I'm letting them know it might be a higher fee. And this is the pickup time. This is when I need documents to make it, if it needs to ship out that same day. And then as a signing service, I'm keeping in mind, I'm probably going to not get the greatest communication of when they confirm. So I have to kind of keep writing them a little bit. Did you confirm? Did you call? Did you confirm? I'm not going to get the best communication when they finish. I might be like, hey, it's, how's it going over there? It's been an hour and a half. Oh, I'm on my way home. Okay, all right, thank you. I wish you would have told me when you were done, but okay, thank you. And also keep in mind, they might not have great cell phone service in these rural areas, so they might not be able to communicate with you. Sometimes it's the notary's fault. They just poor communication skills. Sometimes there's just no cell phone reception, and we get that. And then keep in mind, too, if there is a mistake, they're going to have to travel back out there to fix it. And it might miss cutoff time if there's a mistake. So it's a headache. It's a headache in general. And it takes away, because sometimes we're planning and we're trying to coordinate and we're sending text messages to notaries and we're calling notaries. And also keep in mind that a lot of the notaries in the rural areas, they don't do this full time. Now, sometimes they do because maybe they're a stay-at-home parent. And so one of them works, the other one has to take the other kids to school. So on the side, they do mobile notary service on the side. But sometimes they have jobs as well, and they just do this on the side. So they might not get to it till like after hours. After work hours, I mean. Like I get off work at 2 or 3 o'clock. I'll do it after that. Has to make last pickup time. And that's at noon. So it's a balancing act. We spend sometimes a lot of time and energy just finding a notary in a rural area. It takes a lot of time and energy sometimes. And that takes away, we have other orders coming in, but we're texting notaries, we're calling notaries, like, hey, are you available? We're waiting for phone calls to come back to us to let us know. It can be a big pain. And unfortunately, our clients don't know that. They just think, all right, you're a notary service. You can find notaries anywhere. And for the most part, we can, but it definitely gets tricky. So just to recap what I do as a signing service owner, when I get a request, the first thing I do before I even respond to my client is look at the zip code and find out, what are we looking like? Do we have just a few notaries, or do we have a good amount of notaries in the area? If we have a good amount of notaries, I don't have to worry about it. Say, great, no problem. We'll start working on this for you and let you know what time they schedule. If there's not many, I'm telling them, all right, there's not many. We're talking, they're traveling an hour to an hour and a half each way for the notaries. I'll let you know what their fees are. I'm giving them that heads up. And when I do get a notary, I call them. I kind of vet them a little bit and find out their pickup times so I can let my client know, okay, I do got a notary for you. I've got one for you. And this is the pickup time. This is the last pickup time. So that's what I'm communicating. And then as a signing service company, we're staying, I don't want to say I'm staying on top of the notary, but we're definitely keeping an eye on it. Hey, did you confirm? Because their communication skills are a little bit more poorer in the rural areas. Have you confirmed? Are you finished? When can I expect scans? Can you make last drop? This is what we're staying on top of as a signing service company. And we kind of have to stay on top of it a little bit more. And when I'm vetting them, I'm asking them, did you take any courses? How experienced are you? How much experience do you have? Have you done a refi? Have you done a purchase? Whatever the file is that I'm working on. Have you done these before? I like it when it's a seller packet, to be honest, because it's usually less paperwork. It's only a few things to get notarized. It's a little bit less hassle. And if it is a rural area, I can always go back to my client and say, hey, this is a seller packet. It's a rural area. Can we do a RON? Can we do a remote online notarization with this? And that's assuming they're good with computers and have good internet connection. That's also assuming they've got that. I hope that helps, Tiffany. I hope that helps you. I hope that it's going better for you when your clients are requesting these rural areas. If you're thinking about becoming a signing service owner, keep this in mind. You will come across someone in a rural area, and you have to get a notary out there. And this is how I handle it. If you have more questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and ask for help. And if you have a great community of notaries and signing service owner friends, you can always ask them too. Have you ever worked with a notary in this area? And if so, who did you work with that did a good job? Or who did you work with that you think I should stay away from? As well, it goes both ways. All right. Hope that helps you. And just remember, keep being the awesome notary and signing agent that you are. Keep providing the best service. Keep being amazing. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye.